Good morning, the Board of Examiners, the Honorable Bu Mika, my first supervisor, the Honorable Bu Nova as my second supervisor, and the respectful chair, Bu Sri Andriani. First of all, I want to thank you, ma'am, for giving me the chance to present my article in this thesis defense. My name is Haider Al-GGF, and in the next 15 minutes, I will be talking about my bachelor's thesis entitled Developing a Website as a Supplementary Digital Writing Platform for the Undergraduate Students. So there are three main reasons why I brought this thesis, ma'am. To begin with, essay writing is a required course for all ELE and ELL students at the Faculty of Letters Universitas Negeri Malang. It is considered the most challenging writing type and essential skill for many academic purpose. Secondly, according to the 2019 catalog, the essay writing course in our department has been using a 5-step process writing approach, namely planning, drafting, revising, editing, and publishing. However, based on my needs analysis, the essay writing lectures and students lack a supplementary digital writing platform that provides the process writing approach, features, and appropriate resources. Numerous studies were conducted on electronic platforms using various online tools, including blogs, social media, messengers, and course management system in the writing classroom. Yes, it is proven that these digital writing platforms have been effective for writing skills development and motivation. Unfortunately, none of those provide 5-step process writing approach features, meaning they only focus on the final output instead of the importance of essay developing. Instead of the importance of essay development. I found one supplementary digital writing platform that implemented the process writing approach. It is circa 2016, namely writingmate.net. Nevertheless, it only provides argumentative materials, which are the following advanced course after passing essay writing course and paragraph writing course. Consequently, the resources are not complete for other writing types, especially for expository essays. Moreover, the model essays given are unfamiliar or not relatable to ELE and ELL study programs. Furthermore, she further suggested that future researchers need to add additional supporting features because her web prototype did not provide the aid for students to archive their work, paraphrase, or check plagiarism and grammatical errors. Hence, my research aims to develop a functional and active website as a supplementary digital writing platform with appropriate and relevant resources for essay writing courses targeted at ELE and ELL students at Universitas Negeri Malang. There are 7 stages of the method that I use in this research, and it is adopted from the theory of Board and Gold 1983. In the first stage, the needs analysis, I conducted a questionnaire via Google Form of 15 multiple questions for 50 respondents from ELE and ELL students batch 2019 and 2020 who already took online essay writing courses. And the results are as follows. Number 1, although most students enjoyed writing English essays, most students still face writing difficulty due to uninteresting materials and unsuitable model essays. Secondly, over half of the students admitted that finding relevant resources on the internet is very difficult. Thirdly, all students already have gadgets and use them frequently because their classes are entirely conducted online due to pandemic COVID-19. Next, I also conducted a semi-structured online interview of 16 questions regarding the effectiveness of current digital writing platforms they have been utilizing in their classroom. The result indicates that 10 students agreed that WhatsApp group, Google Classroom, Sipajar, email, Google Drive, and Google Docs are not efficient enough in saving files because it is time-consuming and not integrated with the 5-step process writing approach. Moreover, most of them claim that relatable topics would motivate them better because they would have prior knowledge and experience to develop their essay structures. In addition to that, they mentioned that the archive feature is really needed to encourage students to rewrite and revise maximally because there would be extra credit as an author under their names, and also they would feel ashamed since it's going to be digital and references for the public and next generation. Hence, I created this product, namely Rewrite website. So this is the homepage of the website consisting of the information, essay samples feature, and archive feature for public readers. And if the user wants to utilize this 5-step process writing approach based on this theory, they need to sign up or log in as a writer or a lecturer. This is the sign up feature to make an account in my website. But if you are already registered, you may directly log in by your email address and password. And this is the showcase of my profile feature consisting of your short biography, identity, and published essay history. Next, this is the dashboard and my class feature to create or join an essay writing class by a code given by the lecturer. So let's move on and let's talk about the details for 5-step of process writing approach. Number 1, in the planning feature, there will be suitable resources for essay writing materials. These materials focus on expository essay lessons, and they are adopted by smelly books given by essay writing lectures. Also, in the planning feature, complete model essays with related topics to ELE and ELL study programs are provided. For example, this is a whole essay about the most famous universities in Malang. And this is the complete essay about essay about ISAC in UM, and academic writing tips in the full essay templates. After brainstorming and reading many titles in the drafting feature, in the planning feature, writers start outlining their initial draft in the prompt provided, such as thesis statement or their layers of body paragraphs and concluding points restatement. After the lecturer approves the student's draft, all writers will get constructive feedback from their classmates and peer review in the revising feature, like this. Then the students revise their essays based on the criticism, suggestions, and evaluation given. Students can also use these helpful tools to check their grammar mistakes and plagiarism level in the editing feature. If it has more than 20% similarity, they may paraphrase in the connected links given and submit the results to the lecturer for an assessment. Last but not least, the publishing feature is a place for a lecturer to mark a score and give a final evaluation for the student. If the essay is qualified enough, it is encouraged to be published in the archive feature. The archive feature can be a very potential and most significant motivation for students to write better because it will be digital footprints and reading lists for the next generation. After I finished developing my website, I did also the expert validation, of course. An academic lecturer from Palaski University Olomouc Czech Republic and a media expert from Universitas Negeri Malang assessed and evaluated my product by a checklist of these 3 indicators: content, program operation, and design and layout. Overall, The result is perfect for content design and layout, also good enough for program operation. As a result, for every aspect, scores calculated were above 60%. Based on the interpretation table by Solistio 2011, the website doesn't really need to be revised actually, but to make it better rewrite, I repaired the website based on both experts' comments and suggestions. For the first revision, I only needed to add a comment section and feedback feature, not only in the revising part, but also in the model essays part. So constructive discussion would be possible and working there. After that, I conducted a product tryout for 20 students selected from 50 respondents randomly. This number is ideal enough to represent 10 samples from ELE class and 10 from one of ELE classes. The product tryout for target users had 4 leading indicators, and the testing result shows that all of those factors are excellent quality and satisfying. Let's break down one by one. Number 1, general aspect has witnessed. My internet connection is unstable. All right. Number 1, general aspect has witnessed a 90.7% mean score with 6 components. Second, the layout got an 87.83% mean score with 6 components as well. Thirdly, writing material has an 89% mean score with 7 components. But last but not least, control and use of 7 components also experienced a higher mean score of 89.71%. Despite this positive feedback, I still did a second revision because some students had the same advice and comment as the media expert noticed. It's about the minor misspelling in one of my materials written on the website. Therefore, I revised it from COUMT to be COUNT to the correct one. Finally, here is the depiction of the final product with the website link, rewritewebapp.com. To sum up, Rewrite website implements the 5-step process writing approach and model essays related to ELE and ELL's topics. And each stage is equipped with supporting features, including a feedback section, a paraphrasing tool, a grammar error detector, a plagiarism checker, and archive feature. The website has excellent content, program operation, design and layout, and successful product tryout or testing. Therefore, Rewrite website is ready for public use. To close my presentation, several significant notes and suggestions that I will to give as follows. Essay writing lectures should push and encourage their students to archive their final work. By having this archive system, I believe that the continuity of model essays coming from the department would be richer and diverse, just like what we do with JOLA nowadays. Lectures should credit the student by an author recognition and extra score mark. Students need to do their best in every step of the process writing approach, especially in the revising step. Students should be aware that their work might be seen and cited digitally by the public. Lastly, future researchers are suggested to develop another website with different academic writing courses, for instance, paragraph writing courses, which have totally different details, structures, and approaches. I think that's the end of my thesis presentation. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, hi dear. I'm going to ask several questions and I need your answers. My first question is, can you please tell me your further follow-up action towards projects such as like you want to framing project for the whole universities in Indonesia or something like that, not only Universitas Negeri Malang or yeah, whatever. Can you please explain to me?
Yes, of course, Your Honor. At to be honest with you, at the very first idea, uh, I wanted to make it as a national website base. But my first supervisor, Bu Mika, suggested that it was not strategic and not possible for the first step in my thesis proposal, because the first consideration is about the difference and the diverse course profile between among universities in all over Indonesia. So, for example, Universitas Negeri Malang and UNS Solo have the same essay writing course in the third semester, but their catalog has different course profile and agendas. In maybe we learn about expository essay in our essay writing course, but in UNS they are not only not on learning about expository, but also more about descriptive and narrative essays. So there are because of these differences and diverse clashes, Bu Mika, as my first supervisor, suggested me to focus on one spectrum of Universitas Negeri Malang, to have this certain and absolute parameter of catalog and course profile. But talking about my future plan about my website, of course, I would like to upgrade it to the national level, because I believe that the more the wide sorry the more writers join to this website, there would be more masterpiece and model essays created. And I fully believe in the my archive feature, because it will be really helpful and beneficial for juniors and next generation to write similar topics, to differentiate the similar topics that they are interested or concerned about. So that's what I'm concerned. Thank you for the question, sir.
Okay, thank you, Ajay. It's clear enough. And then, can you please explain me more in feedback part of your website? Like, does it have a highlight on the text, so it could ease the writer to know which part he or she should revise? Something like Google Docs, when you have a suggestion or feedbacks, there should be automatically the part that that is need to be revised will be highlighted. Does your website
Yes, sir.
have a feature like that? Or
Yes, sir.
maybe have another innovation?
Yeah. Yes, thank you for the question, sir. I believe that Google Docs is almost perfect writing platform for all students around the world, because we can simply add comment and leave anything we want to add in every Google Docs link. But what makes it different to my feedback feature in comparison to Google Docs feature, it's about in my feedback feature, the lecturer, the student can give the proof of the result of plagiarism check and the result of grammar check also. So after they submitted this two proofs or of the results of plagiarism and minor grammar revision, then the lecturer can see that this particular mistake has been revised by the proof of plagiarism checker, for example. So in comparison to Google Docs, we cannot add a file or attach this kind of audio or file, for example, sir. In Google Docs, we can only add like the link of YouTube, for example, or the link of a certain blog or website. So I think that's the specific difference or the gap in comparison to my feedback feature. Hello? Hello?
I'm sorry, but I think you got me wrong. I mean, like, okay, feedback. You have a feedback feature. Hello, connection is a little bit laggy.
Would you please clarify to that point, sir? Maybe I misunderstood the question.
I'm sorry, I have a connection problem. Where were we?
Feedback
Uh,
feature.
okay. Okay, I think you got me wrong, I did, because I I mean that okay, your website has a feedback feature, and then when for example, I add some details to your draft, like oh you have this sentence is too complex or is not the sentence is not effective. Does it have a like hyperlink or highlight to the part that is being commented or suggested? I meant that. I meant like that.
Yes, sir. Yes, the concept and the initial idea and the initial concept in the very first place is just like that. We can so the mistake that has been found by the lecturer or the classmate or in the peer review section will be highlighted or will be bold or can be also will be italic or underlined. The students can decide because it will be easier for this writer to notice which part is the mistake, which part is error or not, sir. So I think yes, that concept is already there, but it's still need fixing because highlighted in all colors still cannot be done in free website. So it's only can be either italic, bold, or underlined, sir.
Thanks for the response. Yeah, and I think you must add this feature because that feature because it's very useful.
Of course, sir. In the long run.
I'm sorry, it's mute. Okay, uh I'll ask again. In your article, you mentioned that you use the theoretical framework from Berg and Gall, which consists of 7 steps. Is it right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so just you know I have read some article and some material about Berg NID by Berg and Gall. It consists of 10 steps. Can you please tell me why do you call of those steps, those 3 steps?
Yes, sir, of course. Thank you for the critical question, sir. Yes, basically there are so many theories about writing processes, writing steps and procedures, sirs. In back then, it's only consisting of 3: pre-writing, whilst writing, and post-writing. But it's modified into 5 steps or procedures like what I use in my research: planning, drafting, revising, editing, and publishing. And also there would be another 10 steps which I haven't recalled so far, sir. I apologize for that less research skill, but I think it is totally different case because I think that 10 steps would be used in more specific and detailed writing, academic writing type. For example, in bibliography, which is actually narrative categories, but it's supposed to use like very formal structure and like academic lexical resources, sir. So I think it's not appropriate for undergraduate students procedure because it's more complex and it's only applied for master or PhD students, sir.
I'm sorry, Haider, but I didn't ask about your writing steps, but I was asking about the R&D research models. Do you get me?
I'm sorry. So the
It's
seven
okay.
steps, the seven steps.
Yeah, in the page 4.
Okay.
Why did you just involve 7 steps? Because I just read Brook and Gall models it consists of 10 steps.
Yes, sir. May I know what are the 3 other steps, sir, that are missing in my method?
Okay, the steps that I've just read are develop preliminary form of product, and
Yeah.
then I'm sorry. First, need analysis. Yes, you have it, and then planning, and then develop preliminary form of product, and then preliminary field testing. Yes, you also have preliminary field testing too, and then main project revision. Of course, you have main field testing. I'm not sure that you have it, and then revision of project, then operational field testing, and then final project revision, and then the last of all is dissemination and implementation. Tell me, why did you just involve of all the steps?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much for the details and the question. I used the research method from Borg and Gold 1983, which consists of 7 stages, because I've researched previous studies from my from Universitas Negeri Malang and from other universities which develop similar product such as a website and Android applications. I found that I found several previous studies such as Silka 2016, Fiarcia 2020, Aziz Muafah 2021, and other website and Android-based applications for supplementary platform for reading or writing. I, after having the deep read with these articles published on the internet, I concluded that all of them use these 7 stages of method, sir. It is considered as an ideal because uh, it's ideal and enough for undergraduate or bachelor thesis, because uh, actually as an undergraduate student we don't need to achieve the stage of implementation, sir. What we need to do is just develop the idea and finish the idea by having the expert validation and try out a product tryout or testing. It doesn't need to be a real implementation, but it can be implemented, or the result can be just like it can be implemented or not, whether or not is it effective or efficient in the classroom or not. It doesn't necessarily need to be implemented for a certain amount of time, sir. So I think that's the difference. 10 stages is more complex and more detailed for master or PhD students, perhaps, sir. That's what I think. Thank you.
Uh, okay. I'm sorry, but may I repeat that you do not need the effectiveness of your product, wasn't it?
Yes, we need to know the effectivity or the effectiveness of our product from the result of expert validation, sir, and also from the product tryout, sir, or testing. So we will know the result of effectiveness of our product in those two stages, sir. But the concern on regarding whether or not it it will be implemented, that's another case, sir. That's up to the lecturers and the students' agreement in the class, in their own class, whether or not they want to use this supplementary platform that I initiated or not. At least I have developed and suggested to them, but the decision to use it is back to the lecturers and the students again, sir.
Okay, this is the follow-up question. Um, you you have conducted tryout in your project for several students, limited students for at least 20 people, if I'm not mistaken. Isn't it correct? Isn't it correct?
Yes, sir, you're correct.
Okay, so I think that that stages was in preliminary field testing because the test is limited on the respondents.
Yes, sir. You're indeed right. Hello? I'm audible? I think I'm okay.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. You used 20 persons of English department students to conduct a trial, which was called preliminary field testing because it's limited to several respondents. But because you have said you also consider the effectiveness of your product, you need to. I think you need to conduct main field testing, and I think you have missed this part because main field testing is about the test of effectiveness, whether or not your product is effective or not. Because and yeah, you've just mentioned the effectiveness of your product, but you did miss this. Uh, can you please clarify?
Before that, may I ask about what I'm missing in the product tryout, sir?
Okay, I would repeat this. You conducted a tryout, namely preliminary field testing. Preliminary field testing is a test that is limited to several people to see to become an initial test. And then after that, in this material, I read that after you have revised the tryout, you need to conduct main field testing so that your product is tested whether it is effective or not. But you have missed this this phase. But you mentioned your product is needed to be effective. Can you please clarify this?
Yes, sir. I think preliminary testing or the main field testing that you mentioned and you meant is already combined in my one product tryout, sir. I simplified it uh, into four indicators. That's why uh, that's why the indicators of product tryout of my product tryout in comparison to expert validations, indicators are totally different. The indicators of my product tryout is more uh, is more complex. There are four factors of assessment in this case: general aspect, layout, writing material, control, and use. And each of them has 6 to 7 components, another 6, 7 components of assessment. For example, like in this general aspect, website accessibility should be assessed, website operation should be assessed, sign up feature should be assessed, login feature, learning objectives, general appearance should be assessed. So all the details and all the features in my website has been assessed and has been tested by these participants, target users. I think it's already it's already it's already including what you meant about the final field testing, because of this detail, sir. It's totally different in the case of expert validation, which only assess of 3 parameters, sir, which are content, program operation, and design and layout. So I think it's they are the same overall. After all, don't you agree, sir?
Okay, what I mean by effective here is, does your website guarantee the student that they, what is that? It can motivate students to write in your website, or maybe something like, does it guarantee this, that students can be motivated to like writing, to be exact, essay writing?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Sorry. Based on the based on the product tryout, and the needs analysis I conducted, I came to the conclusion that these students had lack of suitable resources, sir. They actually have a interest in writing English essays, especially expository essays, sir. But it it's decreasing their motivation in the past because the materials and the resources given by the lecture is either uninteresting or not relatable to the major, sir. So the model essay that they are given by the lecture is talking about the issue of global warming, for example, or space space exploration, for example, or feminism, for example. These are the issues that actually not really related and familiar with ELE and ELL students, sir. Therefore, I asked them in the need analysis questionnaire and interview that what actually motivates them the most regarding the materials and the model essay topics that they really want to read for their writing essays. Apparently, what motivates them the most is the suitable resources, sir. Suitable resources in this case means that they have the exposure of model essays with topics with titles that is directly related to ELE, English language education, literature, or linguistics, sir. That's why the material, the model essay that I selected on my website is only talking about English language education, literature, and linguistics. For example, in the model essay of this, the most famous universities in Malang, Indonesia, the 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 substantive in this passage is more about education in the higher university, for example, sir, and also about and also another example that I selected is from Tamima, Mbak Tamima Works, ELE 2016, that wrote about is the discussion opinion essay about e-sex, the minimum contribution for English language teaching students in Universitas Negeri Malang. Last but not least, there's also tips discussion essay about tips on writing a good essay. These kind of topics that is relatable and familiar with them, that motivates them the most, sir. It's proven by the product tryout that they have before and after they've read this materials and model essay. They witness that they can easily relate to the passage easily because they have prior knowledge and experience to the topic discussed. Other than that, one of the most significant feature in my website is archive features. So in the past, students tend to not really write their best, because the final assignment in essay writing course is just like was just like formality to pass the course, just to get the final score. But because but when I conducted the semester structure interview, one of the students with us said that this archive feature is can be a potential and motivation for them to write better, because it's going to be digital footprints, sir. Everybody can read their work, everybody can cite their work, and there gonna be a credit under their name, sir. These kind of factors that motivates them the most, sir. Because they would feel so ashamed if their work is not really good because it's publicly accessible. And also in my last suggestion, I suggest that essay writing lectures should credit every student and every author to if they archive their masterpiece, sir. Because the more final essays archive, the more rich and the more diverse and the more complete materials and model essay we're gonna have in the near future for the next generation. So I think that's one of the example and factors that can motivate these students based on the need analysis and my product tryout, sir. Thank you for the question.
Okay, so basically this your answer is related to my question, my others questions in part of method. No, I mean like in sampling and the representative of population. Okay, I think you have to study more about the main field testing, because I think preliminary field testing and main field testing is cannot be what's that? Cannot be mixed, because they have their own function. Prelim is limited, and then the main field testing is more broader scope of your respondents. And of course, both of these phase have a different goals, and they don't share the same goals in common. Okay, I think that's your first homework. And then my question is, have you conducted validity and reliability tests for your need analysis instrument?
Do you mean instrument validation, sir?
Yeah, it's in my understanding, if you're going to conduct a survey, you need to ensure that your instruments, your items in your questionnaire is meant to measure what it's meant to be measured. Like if you want to measure the previous platforms, for example, you want to you want to know you want to measure how their opinions toward the effectiveness of Siakat platform, something like that. And you need to ensure that your items is valid. It means that it measures what it should to be measured. Have you conducted the validity and reliability test for that?
Yes, of course, sir. I have uh, two I have several instruments which are in the needs analysis. I have a questionnaire of 15 multiple choices, multiple questions, I mean, and semi-structured interview. And the second one is in for the instrument for expert validation, and the third one, the instrument of testimony of or questionnaire or survey for product tryout to 20 initial target user. Let's talk about the first instrument. It's about the student's questionnaire and semi-structured interview. The 15 questions, the 15 multiple questions that I made is already validated by Ma'am Helena, sir. So each and every single instrument has been validated and revised based on the suggestions and comments from the experts, sir, which is none other than the academic writing lecturers. For example, in my students questionnaire, it it looks for uh, what is this? For criteria, the student's opinion and writing English essays, students' opinion about study at home, students' frequency in using gadgets, and student preference on essay samples. Because since these four criteria is considered still not enough to fulfill what I need in the need analysis about the effectivity of current writing platform that can be urgent. So does it really need, sorry, what do they really need another supplementary writing platform or not? Therefore, I conducted another instrument of semi-structured online interview consisting of 16 questions asking about the effectivity of current writing platform that they have been utilizing so far. It's actually, I've put those questions in the appendix, as you may see in the page of in the page of 30. You can see that there are several questions here asking about students' opinions on the effectiveness of the current writing platform that they have been currently using. sorry Dev, too long ya jawabannya, Dev.
Gak apa-apa, lanjutin aja. Nanti feedback keseluruhan tentang presentasimu di belakang ya. Gak apa, selesaiin dulu ya wes. Habis ini nanti habis ini break terus kemudian aku nanggepi gitu loh. Aku nanti langsung nanggepi gitu. Lanjut aja dulu.
Aku bingung deh. Oke. Yes, sir. So after I conducted this semi-structured online interview and the instrument validator also said to me that it's already enough to get the data about why current writing platforms are not enough. That's why new supplementary writing platform in terms of website is needed. And then I asked for another instrument validator for expert validation sheet, which have 3 indicators: content assessment, program operation assessment, and design and layout assessment. That's also had been validated by the instrument validator. And last but not least, about the questionnaires or survey for 20 target user for the tryout product. Yes, these questionnaires is actually adapted from release 2021, because they also created and developed a similar product but for reading. That's why I just need to change the skill into writing. But the criteria and the assessment of this questionnaire are basically the same. There are four aspects of assessment: general aspect, layout, writing material, and content use. In conclusion, I believe that my these three instruments have been validated and accepted by the instrument validators, just that I already acknowledged in my acknowledgement sheet, sir. Thank you. Peringatan loh aku, Deo. Oke. Pertanyaan lagi.
Aku nggak exit nih, tak panjer gini aja. Jadi nanti kalau mau masuk langsung masuk aja.
Oke, salat Allah.
Oke. Hello, Dev.
Oi, saya
Can
Dev.
we start? Okay. Kapari.
Halo Dew.
Halo.
Oke, udah berzikir Anda?
Dari mana tadi ya? Sebentar. Oh, validity reliability ya?
Mm-mm.
Okay. From what I know, my friends told me that I don't know whether is it right or not. If you adopt, actually you don't need expert validation. But if you create it from the start, you're starting off for creating those questionnaires, those items for your questionnaires, then you need a expert validation. But all of whether is it adopt, or even you start over, you need sorry, uh, you need to check it on SPSS to see the current batch alpha, or uh, the error count, and the error count of your questionnaire, whether is it valid or not. For it, that is for my understanding. Correct me if I'm wrong, but probably you might consider this as a homework too, if in the examination you're going to be asked something like this. Okay, let's continue to the next question. Okay, from my what's that? Sepemahamanku, sepenangkapku ya. You only you got yourself through to the project development for to your website. You focus more on the website, but you let's consider in the questionnaire, the survey. And yeah, my last questions is about 2 or 3 is about sampling. And yeah, the survey itself. What type of sampling did you use then?
All right, sir. Thank you very much for the question. I apologize for forgetting the name of this sampling technique, but basically I chose one class for ELE and one class for ELL for in total for 25 students from one class ELL and 25 students from one class ELL. In total, there are 50 students for the questionnaire in the need analysis. And after that, I use a random sampling technique. I randomly chose 5 representatives from ELE and 5 representation from ELL to be interviewed further in the semi-structured online interview. So there were 10 students in total in my interview section. And after that, regarding the product tryout, there are 20 students. It's also a random sampling technique from the 50 respondents in the first questionnaire. So 10 from ELE, 10 from ELL as randomly picked and consented to be to try out the product. And I believe that the number of 20 is pretty ideal and enough to represent one class of each, because I've seen previous research and previous studies that already created and developed similar website and Android application. They only even use 16, 18 students for the product tryout. So I think 20 is the number of 20 is really is already enough, sir, in my opinion. Thank you very much.
Okay, yes. And you need to study more about something. If it, and in any case, if it's in any case, you're going to be asked about this anyway.
Okay.
Okay. So you decide the amount of your respondents based on the previous from the previous study, isn't it?
Yes, sir, as the consideration.
Okay, but do you know the reason why the amount is it like that? The amount is 50 and then you take 50, but do you know the reason behind it? Why is 50 is enough? Why 50 are enough?
Yes, as far as I recall, from what I've read from the article and the previous thesis, previous researcher explained that a certain amount of respondent or participant in need analysis questionnaire or interview section and even in the product tryout is determined at least 10% of the population. So more than 10% is considered as enough because the minimum is 10% of the population. So that's what I've recalled from what I've read from the previous research. In my case, if we count in cohort 2019, there are four classes. There are four classes for ELE and there are four classes in ELL. And each class consists at least 25 students. So in total, there are 100 students in ELE and 100 students in ELL at the very least. And 10% of that is only 10% of 100 is actually only 10 students. That's why I chose and picked 50, 25 from ELE and 25 from ELL to achieve this minimum percentage of 10% of population. And also, my first supervisor, Bu Mika, told me and suggested me 10 is not enough to make it more credible and reliable data. I need to have like 20 up to 50 students. So that's the reason behind that, sir.
Oh, okay. So well, actually, the amount of the ideal sample is still debatable, but you need to study more about it because you cannot panic.
Issue.
Yeah, you have to be ready for the worst scenario. And I have prepared the worst scenario for you. This is my question.
Wow.
Yes. To clarify that this might not important, not important. Yes, an unimportant question, and has less possibility to be asked in your examination. But I think it is worth questioning. How can yeah reflecting to the premise that the ideal sample is still debatable. My question is, how can you be sure that those respondents for your tryout 50 students are enough to become a representative of your whole population in approximately your population is about 336 if I'm not mistaken, because it consists of 2 cohorts and consists of 12 classes, and if we assume that for each class it has 28 students, it must be around 326 or I'm sorry 336. Yes. And how can you be assured that your 50 students is representative enough, since your margin of error is with 90 with 95% confidence level for your sampling is 12.8%, approximately 12.8%, since the what's that the tolerance of the margin of error for survey is 3 up to 8%. You have 4% gap in the margin of error. How could you be sure that it is representative? I don't know. I don't know whether 12 is okay for R&D, but I have read some sources that 3 up to 8% of margin of error is tolerable.
All right, thank you for the question, sir. Regarding the data, the measurable of my data, I apologize for not understanding this concept before. I think the best way for me to be so sure of my respondents to be responsible and to be serious in filling the questionnaire and answering all the multiple questions and the tryout product without randomly just pick the answer and just leave it away. I think it depends on the selection of my sample. There are 4 options of classes that I can choose, actually, offering A, B, C, or D, but I chose offering C instead. Why? Because number 1, the lecturer, Bu Lestari, was really cooperative with me. She would help me passionately to guide and to supervise these students to feel the questionnaire seriously, because the data also assessed by Bu Lestari very carefully. So because there's this idea of supervision coming from the lecturer directly, I think the students would feel afraid if they randomly filled or answered the option. So I think because I could make sure this responsibility of these respondents, I'm pretty sure that the level of errors in my data would be lesser because of this kind of consideration. If that answers your question, sir.
Okay, so your answer is based on assumption. Yeah. Okay. Okay, that's enough, I think.
Aku nggak ngerti deh ini angka-angka gimana.
Ya gini, makanya di Rabi juga aku kan ini kan nggak pernah dijelasin kan, ini loh. Margin of error itu kan kita nggak pernah dijelasin kan awalnya. Nah, margin of error ini gini, sama margin of error kan 12% kan, 12,8% kan.
Ntar. Menentukan margin of errorku bisa suddenly jadi 12% tuh gimana?
Ada rumusnya, tapi ada website yang kalkulatornya ada.
Dari mana?
Cari aja
Maksudnya
margin of error kalkulator.
yang dinilai apanya? Ingat nggak
Ya
Mas?
itu, sampelmu berapa, populasi berapa, confidence level yang kamu ambil berapa gitu.
Oh, dan 12 itu terlalu over udah berarti. Maksudnya nggak tolerate.
Over.
Oh,
Over.
anjir. Tolerance-nya cuma dari 8 sampai
Yang bisa ditoleransi itu 3 sampai 8.
3 sampai 8.
Hmm. Aku bacanya gitu, tapi itu nggak tahu ya, biasanya itu setiap riset itu beda-beda di case study berapa,
Hmm.
survei yang buat case study berapa, survei buat R&D berapa
Oh,
gitu. Aku nggak
mungkin
tahu kalau buat R&D itu.
iya iya, mungkin karena populasiku kamu ambil angkatan 2019 dan 2020.
2018 sama 2019 nggak sih?
No, 2019 aja sebenarnya.
Oh, 2019 saja.
Heeh.
Loh, tapi kan dulu itu di grup-grup 2018 juga ada itu.
Oh, enggak enggak jadi dipakai itu. Itu mock-up
Oh,
aja. Makanya makanya pas
oh,
kamu jadi itu sempat salah kan? Itu 2018 nggak bisa ikut. Soalnya 2018 kan nggak online. Jadi akhirnya aku revisi, aku ulang ambil data, ambil need analisisnya dari
oh
instrumen
gitu gitu.
validator. Berarti nggak
Oke,
sampai
berarti
12% dong.
ya dihitung lagi, coba dihitung lagi. Enggak, kayaknya ini nggak bakal ditanyain sih, soalnya kita juga, soalnya
Bisa jadi
aja.
tahu,
Iya,
bisa
jadi
jadi.
anggarannya gini, berapa sampelmu 5, populasinya berapa berarti? Ya.
Deo, suaramu putus-putus.
Populasimu berapa?
100, 200, perangkatan 200 at least.
Kelas aja wes, per kelas kan 28. Satu angkatan 6 kelas. Berarti 28 kali 6 loh.
Eh,
Bentar. Apa nih? 11,
angkat. Berapa?
11,65%.
Kok masih banyak sih?
Emang banyak gitu. Gini loh, kuncinya kuncinya sampling itu ya. Kalau semakin sedikit populasimu, semakin banyak data yang harus diambil sebenarnya. Kalau populasimu itu
Hah?
1000,
Jadi harus semakin banyak. Gimana gimana?
gini, kamu lihat toh sekarang browsingo tabel Isak Isak dan apa ya, Isak Michael. Coba tabel Isak, ISAAC dan Michael gitu.
Tabel,
Isaac dan Michael.
tabel Isaac and Michael. Ya,
Lihat. Udah?
udah.
Nah, coba lihat itu. Itu yang N itu jumlah populasi. Jumlah jumlah populasi yang N itu. Nah, yang persenan itu confidence levelnya. Contoh nih, kamu ambil 10 10 apa ya? 10 populasi dengan confidence level 5%, maka diambil semua itu. Coba terus kita lanjut ke 100. 100 confidence level 5% yang diambil 78. Berarti kan 78%. Yang 10 tadi 100% diambil semua. Yang 178% diambil semua. Jadi diambil 78%. Coba kamu lihat yang ribuan, 2000. 1000 dah, 1000. Mana 1000? Nah, 1000 itu dengan confidence level 5% diambil cuma 256. 25,6%. Jadi semakin rendah kan gitu loh. Jadi kalau semakin populasinya tinggi,
Eh,
persentasenya itu semakin kecil yang diambil buat
oh,
representasinya. Nah, kenapa ini tadi kurangnya dikit? Soalnya populasimu sedikit, persentasenya jadi banyak. Jadi kalau kamu kurangin 336 berkurang dari 336 ke berapa tadi? 168. Ya itu tetap kecil gitu loh. Maksudnya
eh.
populasinya turunnya kecil. Jadi ya presentasinya juga kecil juga. Tuh.
Tapi at least turun dong dari 12 jadi 11.
Iya sih. Aku 10, aku cuma 10%. Ikas, wes. Mana
Oh,
lagi? Susah
10.
beda. Nah,
Gimana jawabnya kalau kan toleransinya cuma 8?
ya, ya itu kan. Ya gini loh, margin of error itu pengertiannya gini. Semua punyamu tadi kan 11 ya, 11%.
Ah,
Nah, tingkat tingkat representasi sama hasilmu itu selisihnya itu ya itu tadi. Jadi kayak seumpama tadi um, respondenmu nggak nyaman pakai pakai semua pakai siakat lah, pakai siakat 80%. Nah, sebenarnya representasinya data aslinya yang ada di lapangan itu 12 dari range 12%, itu berarti 80 kurangi 12% berapa? 68 ya. Nah, jadi sebenarnya uh, jika di rata-rata jawabannya itu ada di 68% sampai 92%. 80 ditambah 12. 80 dikurangi 12 sampai 80 ditambah 12. Gitu loh. Margin of error itu cuma gitu. Jadi ya bisa jadi surveimu itu tepat di 80%, bisa jadi ke di 83, bisa jadi unrated, bisa jadi overrated gitu loh.
oh my god. Susahnya.
Ya gitu, makanya ya itu kayak kemungkinan surveimu salah itu gitu dok sebenarnya.
Catat dong. Fotoin catatanmu.
Aku nggak nyatet anjir. Cuma browsing
Ketikin
baca
kayak
gitu.
apa kayak.
Oh alah, ya gini.
Jangan di sini di WA aja.
Oh, oke, ya wes. Sama sekalian itu harus jawab feedback itunya ya, feedback keseluruhan ya.
Ya, kan feedbacknya mau orally atau tulisan.
Pengenmu gimana wes?
Kan nyamannya gimana? Kan ini
Sembarang aku. Ya
ya
barangkali kamu lebih
TikTok.
suka pakai teks atau lebih paham kalau pakai oral.
Ya aku biar ku inget ini sih teks kali ya.
Oke, teks aja ya. Oke.
Tapi aku mau tanya tadi aku berapa menit ya?
Nggak tahu.
Ikon katanya mau timerin.
Loh, emang aku bilang mau timer?
Iya, ya udahlah nggak apa.
Enggak. Yes.
Aku tunggu
Ya,
feedbacknya ya.
ya
Ya,
nanti diperbaiki pas sama itu ya sama apa master itu.
enggak lah, kamu udah paling master nih. Tapi kalau kamu
Nah lah,
nanti
tai.
tambah VN juga nggak apa-apa, mau ketik juga nggak apa-apa. Aku
Iya,
makan
oke.
sampai
Oke, tak ketik ya, wis.
aku stopin
Yo,
dulu.
ya yo, aku live yo.